Okay, we're here with the president. We're very excited to be here.
I'm very excited to be here.
Very grateful. Thank you very much. You must be a little wistful. You must feel a little like David Ortiz about a month ago, where you know you're going on to great things in the next chapter of your
And
life.
I'm still hitting.
And you're still hitting.
But my feet hurt.
But but you know you'll never quite have a job as exhilarating.
Well, it is time. I tell people that this has been a great run. I have loved this job. I'm not going to pretend that there haven't been moments of great frustration, but it is a singular privilege. I think I'm as good a president now as I've ever been, because you learn stuff over 8 years.
Sure.
You've sort of been around the track a bunch of times. But I also see now the wisdom of the founders that at a certain point you have to let go for the democracy to work.
Sure.
That there has to be fresh legs, there have to be new people, and you have to have the humility to recognize that you're a citizen and you go back to being a citizen after this office is over. So we're just trying to run through the tape, and the great thing is I've got an unbelievable team around me of people who have done extraordinary work. I'm sort of the front man for it. And
Well, that's very modest.
well, the fact that that the team won't be there in the same way, I think is the only thing that where you have a little bit of regret.
So we're a week out from the election.
Yeah.
And you're a history buff. I think when we look back, if Mr. Trump is defeated, I'm hopeful that the takeaway will be that socialism was not such a dirty word anymore because of our friend Bernie Sanders. And I'm just wondering, as someone who was accused of being a socialist before, what you think about the idea that in America, yes, we're capitalists, but some things just should not be for the profit motive. Healthcare, prisons, the military, elections, and I would add news gathering. People say get the money out of politics. I think you got to get out of the news business first, or we're never going to learn anything.
Well, a couple of things I'd say. First of all, if you look at the United States, Canada, Europe, all the advanced democracies, then clearly you've got to have a market-based system because it's really productive and it spurs on innovation and freedom and entrepreneurship, and you got to have a social welfare state. And in some ways, the label socialism doesn't make that much sense in a context where there's no economy that doesn't have some socialist elements, meaning that there's some common goods that we all agree everybody should have. That's what Social Security is. That's what Medicare is to some extent. That's what public schools are. We all chip in to make sure that everybody, no matter the circumstances of your birth, have these baseline goods. And as you know, I've felt pretty strongly that healthcare should be one of those goods. I've also said in the past that if I were designing a system from scratch, I would have probably looked at a single payer system. But we do have legacy systems, and that's the only thing that sometimes when I've had conversations with Bernie, I've said to him, we don't start from scratch. You've got a $1 trillion healthcare industry, for example, and you got a lot of people who are working for it and a lot of special interests involved. And so my goal in the Affordable Care Act was, if I can get millions of more people insurance, then that's my first goal. Because for them, this is not an abstraction. It's like, I'm not going to lose my home or my kid's going to get coverage. And that's what we've done. But I see it as a starter home, and then the question is, how do we make sure everybody ultimately gets it? Because there's still gaps in coverage. I think the same is true, when it comes to some other issues. To me, I think there is a pretty bright line around prisons. I agree with you that the criminal justice system should not be infected by the profit motive. This is the awesome power of the state, saying we can take somebody's freedom away. We can lock them up because they've breached some part of the social contract. the notion that you might incentivize people to lock more people in, or keep them there longer, or not provide the kind of rehabilitation services so that they can get out of there. I think that's a problem, and so I'm very proud of some of the work that we've been trying to do along these lines. We got more work to do. When it comes to the media, that's a tougher call, because look, state-run media, that's what they got in
Well, not state-run, but just like it used to be, where it was a lost leader for the networks. They didn't have to make a profit at CBS.
Partly because they had a monopoly, though, to some degree.
Right.
So they were fat and happy. In this kind of environment, it's hard to figure out how you would do that. But I think the question I'd have when it comes to the media is, how do we create a space where truth gets eyeballs and is entertaining, and we can build a common conversation. What is true, when I leave here, one of the things I'm most concerned about is the balkanization of the media, where you've got 800 stations, you've got all these websites. People have difficulty now just sorting out what's true and what's not.
Yeah.
And if you don't have some common baseline of facts, we can have a disagreement about how to deal with climate change, but if we have a big chunk of the country that just discounts what 99% of scientists say completely, it's very hard to figure out how we move the democracy forward. So I don't have a good formula for that, but I think that it's something that I'll spend a lot of time thinking about, and seeing if maybe we can build some platforms where everybody says, okay, let's agree on facts and then argue about means after that.
Okay, let me ask you about a question that I know people who watch our show are interested in, which is marijuana reform.
Is that something that you care about?
It is something I care about. It's no, we both made jokes about it, but it's not funny to the people who get arrested, which is over 500,000, I think, last year. You and I both could have had our lives ruined, not really by smoking it, but by being arrested for it.
Right.
And I feel like you had a checklist about, let's get rid of a lot of the stupid stuff, like opening up Cuba.
Right.
You came out for gay marriage.
Right.
I was hoping ending the drug war would be on that list. It's on the ballot now in 9 states in a week, including California for recreational, and Arizona, and medical in places like North Dakota. Isn't it time the federal government caught up to progressive states like Arizona and North Dakota?
Well, here's what I have always believed, that to the extent that the society legitimately wants to guard against any kind of substance abuse, that you treat it as a public health problem. Look, I'm an ex-smoker, cigarette smoker.